up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Dense Pixels podcast. Two-man pod tonight. I'm one of your hosts, Brad, joined by my co-host, Micah.
Hey.
Carrie and Terrence both unable to make it tonight. We're starting recording a little earlier than we typically do because I am settling in for a marathon night of being in front of a microphone and camera.
You are doing the Lord's work, the three of you guys.
It'll already have happened by the time most of you were listening to this, but live stream of the presidential debate tonight with Jay and Andy for Look Forward. So I'm sure you can catch the recap later if you're coming to this after the fact. But yeah, it's gonna be.
I can't wait to listen to a 40-something and a couple of 30-somethings critique two septuagenarians as they battle about the economy and race relations.
It's gonna be a happening, to paraphrase Gorilla Monsoon. That's for sure. It's a shame that neither Carrie or Terrence are here tonight to stop us from to moderate us from making this an hour love session for what is easily my game of the year as it stands.
You know what? Now. I was going to say the same thing, man.
It's going to be, and like I said, as good as Cyberpunk should be, it's going to be very difficult to knock Hades off of the perch that it currently sits on for me, because god damn it, this game is just everything that I hoped it would be and more.
Like, in terms of just being a game and just doing what it is supposed to do as a game, it is the standard bearer for this genre. And I don't think I'm saying that like as hyperbole. Like, this is really good, man.
Well, it's got it all. Like it's bizarre for a roguelike game to have as much story and good story as this game has, and to have a cast of characters and a large cast of characters that are all relatively engaging, and not anyone that you don't really enjoy conversing with or talking to or hearing their story. Even like Theseus, who's a giant douchebag, like is incredibly entertaining, with all the ways that he tries to shit talk you whenever you fight him. And it's just really good. I finally got my first clear on Sunday, which is very exciting, because when you clear the game, they unlock the Pact of Punishment. So on your subsequent runs, you can basically increase aspects of the difficulty, kind of like Torment mode in Diablo in some ways, but you can customize which things are harder, and that adds to like a heat level. And when you beat the game, so you know how like when you go through the game, every boss that you beat with each weapon gives you like a bounty of some kind that gives you like the Titan blood, which you can later use to upgrade your weapons, or it gives you the diamonds, which you need to get the best upgrades in your house. Well, that it basically allows you to earn more of those things, and each heat level has a bounty per boss per weapon, much like the regular weapons do. And I think that you can go up to like 30 heat or something stupid like that if you completely max out all of the difficulty modifiers in the game, because there's a lot of them. So again, just a stupid amount of replayability this game, which is crazy. So you probably haven't cleared the game yet. How far have you made it?
I've done like 22 runs, and the furthest I've made it was Elysium.
Okay.
And I don't know how far that is.
It's the third of 4 levels, essentially.
Okay. I can make it to Elysium, and I just I'm trying to figure out what I need. I've made it to Elysium with the spear. The spear is the weapon that I use the most, followed by a weapon that I did not think I would use at all, and that's the shield.
Well, the shield is what I got my first clear with.
Yeah, maybe I need to put more time with the shield.
Well, it really boils down. So what I found with my runs is it really boils down to like your Daedalus hammer upgrades, like never pass up a Daedalus hammer upgrade, because you only get 2 of them in the entire run. You usually get 1 in Tartarus and 1 in Elysium. And that can change, like the Daedalus hammers change how your weapon behaves. Like it changes aspects of your weapon to make it just work differently, but that can work really well in conjunction with some of the boons that you get. Also, don't sleep on the keepsakes that you get from the gods themselves, because you can use them early, and you can either use them early to kind of start crafting your build how you want to, or you can use them when you get to like Asphodel or when you get to Elysium, if you're like, man, I really need like an Athena, like a specific Athena boon that I'm chasing after. So you can equip her keepsake to ensure that she drops a boon ahead of you at some point, which is super helpful. You kind of managing the keepsakes is important. Did you get like the keepsake upgrade that puts a keepsake at the end of each boss level, like one of the keepsake cages at the end of each boss level?
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was saying that's super important to get that, so that you can kind of switch off during the run. As you
what I haven't been doing is I haven't been giving the gifts to the gods themselves. I've been giving them to other characters.
Yeah,
And,
it's said you should not give any character more than 1 nectar until you've given every character 1 nectar, because that's what you need to get those, to get your keepsake filled out.
All right.
Yeah, so it's like I said, a lot of deep strategy in the game. It took me to my 30th run before I finally beat the game. And it took me four attempts at actually fighting. I mean, no spoilers, Hades is the fucking end boss.
Yeah.
Right. So it took me 4 attempts to beat him. Like, he's difficult, and then he also fooled me, because I remember I walked into his boss fight with all of my death defiances and my lucky tooth, like, still ready to fucking rock and roll. So I had 4 revives available, and I'm like, I'm gonna fucking murk this dude. So I was playing like really, really recklessly and cavalierly, and not caring. Like I was inflicting damage, not caring if I took any, chewing through my revives. And of course, Hades has a second phase where he gets a refilled life bar and new attacks and shit like that. So that really pissed me off when I got there, because then I was fucked. But yeah, it's learning all the enemies' attack. It's like any roguelike in that sense, or like any action game, just kind of learning the attack patterns for enemies. And again, I really enjoy the Daedalus hammer upgrades the most, just because they add a lot of variety, and kind of mixing and matching them with the different boons that you come across, from the different gods, is kind of the key to success. Really, like learning what each god can give you and how it can impact your run is super important, because then you kind of know what you want to be aiming for when you see them pop up. Any Athena boon is great, by the way, especially for the later levels. Like dash, super helpful.
I tend to very rarely do I see Athena. I get a lot of Zeuses, and I get a lot of I haven't given any nectars to any of the gods, but I see a lot of Zeuses, Poseidons, and Aphrodites. What I want is more Athena and Dionysus, for his dot damage.
His is pretty good. Ares, like the blade rifts that you can create with a lot of Ares boons are pretty dope as well. And his call, like Ares' call, is a monster when you get into boss fights, because if you let the gauge max out, like it just basically puts a blade rift on you for like 10 seconds that you can just stand next to a boss and just murder the shit out of them, basically, which is really nice. Yeah, man, it's fun. And like I said, so you said you're in Elysium, but you haven't gotten to the boss yet in Elysium?
Nope, haven't made it to the boss yet in Elysium. I can get to Elysium, but I was last time I literally just saved enough darkness to get a 3rd death defiance. I can make it to Elysium if I'm concentrating, and if I'm like focusing. I can make it to Elysium with maybe only having used 1 death defiance. But that's if I'm like focusing. And it's but I usually end up dying somewhere in Elysium. And it's
don't forget, in Elysium, you can run into Patrocles, who can refill all of your death defiances for you.
Yeah. So I love this game, man, and I want to like it just everything about it, man. The art style, the music, the gameplay loop, the just everything about it is great. I never ever thought I'd say that this independent game, this indie game, might be my game of the year, man. I but
Like I'm still struggling to find something I don't like about it, because I mean, the worst thing you could say is, man, it's kind of grind heavy. Oh man, they make you play the game. Fuck, like that's
right,
that
yeah,
sucks.
like that's literally the point of the game. You know what I mean? Like I don't know have you how many from the mirror, how many keys have you invested
Oh,
into it? How many
I've invested the whole
the whole
mechanic.
mirror?
Yeah,
Okay.
I like for my first, like the first literally like 20 or 25 runs that I had, I was focusing mainly on darkness and keys because I wanted to get the mirror
Mhm.
upgraded. So I have all the talent slots upgraded. Most of the purple upgrades I have maxed out at this point.
Mhm.
I'm starting to work on the yellow ones because some of the yellow ones are significantly better than the purple ones. Like I think they're kind of designed to be more advanced upgrades.
Yeah.
So I'm working on those right now. Like I'm even trying to experiment with the one. So instead of getting the multiple like 3 death defiances, you get like the one per room, but you only get
Yeah.
30% refill. Um,
Yeah.
but that's tricky because some of the boss fights you chew up, you know.
Yeah, like I feel like that's they give that to you to just to kind of trick you into using it.
Well, no, because
Because,
there are some, once you get proficient and really learn the different patterns of the boss fights, it's like I never die anymore in on the first 2 worlds level spawns.
Mhm.
Like the snake I could fucking close my eyes and beat that fight in
Yeah.
front of Hydra. And then the any of the Furies don't really
Yeah,
give
they all follow the same
me
pattern, just with a different,
now
a
now
different
now
tweak.
now Theseus and the Minotaur, different story. Different story. I think honestly, like when you get there, you're gonna be fucking frustrating. I think Theseus and the Minotaur might be the hardest boss fight in the game, because even when I got there, they'd still make me like I'd beat the fight, but they'd force me to use like 2 death defiances. And then the thing when you get the sticks is that how long the stick section is variable, because basically I won't spoil who the guardian of sticks is, but you have to go through 5 tunnels, but you're looking
Mhm.
for something. So you might get that thing in the first tunnel, but you might get it in the 5th tunnel. Like it's completely random as far as how many of these tunnels you have to go through in order to
Mhm.
find the item that you need to advance. I've
Okay.
been really lucky in most of the runs that I've gotten to Hades with. I found it in like the second room every single time, so I haven't had to spend too much time in sticks. The other tip I can give you too, and for you aspiring Hades players out there, don't burn a ton of your coins in Tartarus and use less in Asphodel than you're probably using right now. Like really
Mhm.
try to bank your coins till you get to Elysium, um, because a refilling Death Defiance is expensive unless you run into
Yeah.
Patrocles, and two, when you get to Styx, Charon has some really powerful upgrades, but they're also very very expensive. So if you can start getting to Styx reliably, start trying to have some coin in your back pocket
Oh,
to
I would have thought Charon was the the thing that you were talking about in sticks.
Oh no. He's there with his shop, but he
Oh,
has like
okay.
mega upgrades, but they're expensive.
Oh,
Like they're
okay.
super expensive.
Okay.
No, I can't spoil the Guardian of Sticks for you because it's too funny. So
Oh, okay. All right.
when you first encountered that Guardian, it's an amusing interaction that you have
Excellent.
with them. So yeah, man, fucking hate, and you nailed it. Like you said, the art style is amazing. Just it just again, it's like a hybrid of all of their games that they've made previously combined, because it has like the maturity of like a Transistor, but it has like the colorfulness of like a Bastion associated with it, even though everything's dark and it's bloody because you're in hell essentially. It's really good. Again, like you mentioned, the music is like tip top notch. Soundtrack's available on Spotify, by the way, for those that wanted such things. Yeah,
the acting is great. Like I thought I would hate Zagreus because of, you know, he's just kind of aloof and hey there, mate. Like yeah, and I was like, am I gonna like this guy? But like I really do. Like I like all the characters in it, man. Like it's a really like you said, I'm having a difficult time trying to critique it, trying to find something, trying to nitpick something. Because it does its job. It is a game that knows what it is and it executes its job perfectly. God damn, man.
So good. So good. So yeah, it's again, if you own a Switch or if you own a PC or if you play on PC, you really buy this fucking game. Like,
this is so good. Jay claims that he's going to buy it. Now he's not, but when Jay claims to buy it,
when Jay feigns that he's going to buy something, you know it's got to be good.
That this is good.
That's true. It's a good point. And like I said, all he has to do is buy a controller. That's all he's got to do.
Right.
So we'll see. And even my wife started playing it too, because all I told her is that it was it's similar in some ways to Diablo, and she was in on that.
She was all about it.
She's like, I just played a little bit during lunch. I made it to the third room. I was like, the third room? I was like, all right, so you're gonna have to start practicing up there. That's
all right. Like, you made it all the way to Elysium? Like, no, the third chamber. Oh, okay.
Yeah. How far did I make it the first? I think my first run, I at least made it to the boss fight in Tartarus.
I made it to Megara, but you know, I didn't know what she was. Yeah, I didn't know what she was gonna do.
And that's the thing too, is when you first do encounter, especially the bosses, it gets a little tricky as time goes along. So moving on from there, games with gold for the month of October. Now, this is in many ways the Xbox One's swan song, because you know the Xbox Series X comes out next month. So Microsoft has decided to send out Xbox One games with gold with a bang this month, with a just amazing stellar slate of games that are being offered to you for free in the month of October. For the entire month of October on Xbox One, you get to play Slayaway Camp, Butcher's Cut.
I don't like puns. I don't like puns.
Well, no worries, Micah, because from October 16th through November 15th, you can play The Maid of Sker for free as well on Xbox.
What? I swear they throw out the weirdest games.
I think they're all like spooky themed games just because it's October, it's Halloween. Get it? Ha 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 ha.
I mean, I get it, but like at the same time, right? Like, how about you go out with a bang, right? I don't know.
Well, no, Mike.
I don't know.
Well, let me see if I can blow your skirt up with the Xbox 360 games that are on offer. First, for the first half of the month, from the original Xbox, Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy, which is an Xbox version of a 2003 kids game.
Wow,
that came out.
Jesus.
And then for the second half of the month, Double Fine's Costume Quest, a Halloween-themed RPG, which is actually a good game.
Yeah, I heard that was actually really good. I cannot believe that these 4 games total $71.96 in value.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, there you go. It just all right. I mean, look, I can't complain too much, right? They're giving them away for free, so Costume Quest is worth it.
Sure.
I still don't after all this time, I still don't appreciate the tiered system. Like I know why they do it, right? Like they do it to make you log in and play games, but just give it to me.
Right. Just let me download
Like,
all the shit for free up front. I don't understand why we have to wait halfway through the month.
Right. Like they're treating you like you're getting games on welfare. Like they're generally great value brand games, and you get them on the 1st and the 15th. So they're available on the 1st and the 15th. So hey, here's hoping that next gen they will offer a bit more. Sony too. Here's hoping that they offer
let me ask you this question.
Things a little more incentive.
Not that we get too introspective during the new release section of the show. Is there even a point to games with gold anymore? Like if you ship Game Pass, what the fuck the point of games with gold? You know what I mean? Like if you're trying to get everyone in Games Pass, like take that fucking feature away.
Take it away and force people to get Game Pass. Yeah, because Game Pass, this is just Game Pass.
Yeah.
Just with like crappy games. And they don't even offer games with gold anymore, do they? Like if you have it, fine, but you can't go out and get you can't go out and renew gold, can you?
I think you can. I think you still
can. Can you do it after you have chosen Game Pass? Because I don't think now that I had Game Pass and then I let it lapse, my gold lapsed also.
I don't like the way you're slandering Xbox, suggesting that they complicate systems in any way, shape, or form. It's just it seems like a bold-faced lie to me. Other new releases this week. Spelunky 2 comes to PC today, as it happens. Walking Dead Onslaught comes to PC and PlayStation VR. Feather comes to PlayStation and Xbox tomorrow. And then we have Super Mario 35 coming out on Switch on Thursday, which I'm looking very forward to checking out, the Mario Battle Royale game. You're getting Ys Origin on Switch. Yeah. And then Crash Bandicoot 4 comes to PS4.
Crash Bandicoot, I will never understand the love for Crash Bandicoot. I really just don't. Like of all the, and this isn't just like a mascot platformer thing, right? Like I like mascot platformers depending on the mascot and who's doing the platforming. But Crash seems like a relic of the 90s. You know what I mean? Like it's like it would be like watching Ren and Stimpy again. You know what I mean? Like just a crazy, like maybe it's because Crash reminds me a lot of Bubsy.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, what are you doing here? You're not charming. You don't have the wit and the charm that Ratchet and Clank have. You don't have the je ne sais quoi that Jack and Daxter had. You don't have the lovableness that Spyro had. And you're certainly not on the level of like a Sonic the Hedgehog. I mean, I know you hate Sonic, but like you have to respect Sonic's.
I respect.
He's kind of grandfathered in.
I respect his accomplishments. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm not saying you gotta like
what he has achieved.
I'm not saying you gotta like Big the Cat or whatever that thing was, but yeah, you gotta give Sonic a little love. But I never got it with Crash Bandicoot.
I also neglected to mention Star Wars Squadrons comes out on Friday as well on PC.
What? Are you serious?
Yes. So if you have EA Play, I think you can play it right now. I'm pretty sure.
What? Huh?
Yeah.
Yo, I thought this game was like years away.
Well, I mean, it's releasing in beta on Friday. I mean, you have to pay $60 to access the beta.
Yo, come on.
But I'm sure that in 6 months it'll be a full game. just based on past history with EA Online games.
Wow, I really, boy, EA games are just like under my radar, man.
So you're
I just
not
do
getting
not care
Squadrons.
about
I'm shocked. I'm shocked you keep your money in your pocket for
it.
the first time this fall. It's got to be some
Yeah,
kind of a record.
yeah, I'm good. I am A-okay.
Remember, I downloaded Battlefront 2 and it went free on PlayStation with the intent to play some online, and I just never.
I downloaded it. I downloaded it and I jumped in the tutorial and they made me play one of those robots from episode 1,
Mhm.
and I was just done. I don't want to play one of them robots. Roger, one of those guys. I don't want to play one of them guys. And then I promptly deleted it because I'm never gonna play it.
Oh, I meant to ask you, by the way, because complete misnomer. As far as things that annoy you, have you pet the dog yet in Hades?
No, I have not touched that dog because I
Have
don't
you given
like
it nectar?
dogs. No, I have not given it nectar because fuck that dog. It's
But
a
but
dog.
but he gives you the best early keepsake.
What does it do?
Gives you extra health.
Oh, come yo, come on, man. God damn it.
Oh, it's pretty fucking funny.
God
As soon as I saw that dog, I was like, "There's no way Mike is gonna bond with this dog in this game."
No, I fuck that damn dog. Last thing I need is a dog with 3 heads and it gives you more health. All right. I'm walking around with 55 HP and you're trying to tell me that thing gives me more health, man? All right. My death defiance gives me a whopping 28 health. You tell me that thing could give me more health?
See, your anti-animal ways have cost you dearly in Hades. They prevented your progress from moving forward.
I gotta bust my ass to find them centaur hearts. To man, shit. Now I'm gonna have to pet this damn dog. Oh man.
Yeah, that's your new releases for the week.
Go to youtube.com/densepixels and subscribe. You can see our wonderful offices and our beautiful faces. And look, you're not working anyway, right? You're sitting in front of your computer. You're supposed to be working from home, but you're not really working from home because there are too many distractions, like listening to Dense Pixels. Well, why don't you listen and watch? Just have your YouTube open on the window and just watch us as we talk to you about going to youtube.com/densepixels and subscribing. You can subscribe to all the TMP Studios podcasts wherever you get your podcasts, including the Nerdpocalypse, Black on Black Cinema. For Black on Black Cinema, we just did a movie starring Janelle Monáe called Antebellum, and it was a fun episode. I can't wait for you all to hear it. It's not a good movie. Coming distractions and the weekly preview episode of the Look Forward Political Podcast. Go to densepixels.com/premium. And for $5 a month or $50 a year, you get access to the premium slate of content, including the airing of grievances, No Time to Bleed, which we need to, well, I'm not even gonna mention The Men with the Golden Tongues, a show that is always reliable, upstage conversation, and normally the full episode of the Look Forward Political Podcast. Now, we are taping this the night of the first presidential debate, and what Look Forward is doing is a special. By the time you hear this, it won't mean anything to you. But I'm telling you this because this is the type of stuff that you get from this podcast. It's about politics, and this special is Jay, Brad, and Andy kind of doing a riff track on the presidential debate live. So go to listen to Look Forward, get hooked, and then I have to imagine you guys will probably be doing this for a couple more debates, depending on what the debates are, right?
We'll see how our psyche holds up after the town hall debates, which is the next one, are usually really fun because like they manage to find people that claim to be like gettable voters, like clay to be like swing voters that haven't decided, or undecided voters is the phrase they always use, which in this election in particular is an insane fucking
right. I mean, are you literally on the right side of history or the wrong side of history? Like, which is it? Are you literally on the right side of history or are you a Nazi? Which is it? I got a guy down the street from me who is a proud independent voter and has signs in front of his yard talking about how he's an independent voter. And I'm just like, yo, I can't get into a conversation with that guy. Whereas Jay is the type of person that will knock on that stranger's door just to pick a political fight with him. That's the type of lunatic that you have hosting the Look Forward Political Podcast, and you are going to want to listen to it. Go to densepixels.com/premium.
So I wish Terrence was here because he, I'm sure, would have some things to say about the latest No Man's Sky update that was just released. It's called Origins. Millions of new planets have been added to the game among the quadrillions of planets that already exist within it. There's a lot more biome diversity on the planets, which was a big sticking point early on in the game's development. And there's sandworms, Micah. There's sandworms here. This is another one I really wish I could get back to No Man's Sky at some point, but there's just too many other games that keep coming out that don't give me a fucking chance to be able to like pick this game up for a month and see the things that they've done.
Right.
It would be great.
Would you have to start over? Like, are you so far gone?
100%. Yes. There's no way I can pick up. Like I did a couple years, like 2 years ago, once the first, like, they had a couple smaller updates, but when the first major update came out, I did jump back in the game for an afternoon. And I was so lost. Not only not having played for 2 years, but also with the changes that had been made in the time since I had bounced. So that was fun. Again, we said it before, we'll say it again. Arguably, the greatest reclamation story that I can think of in at least modern video game history. This game came out 4 years ago, if you can believe it.
Jesus.
And they've just been diligently putting out extreme content updates every 6 months to 6 to 9 months since then.
Well, this game is not for me. I can appreciate the fact that they put out a turd and they decided, you know what, we kind of our reach exceeded our grasp and we need to retool. And they did it. And bigger studios with bigger games don't do that, or they give a half-ass job. And you might be like, well, you can't really compare, this is a much smaller game. Well, those bigger studios have way more resources to pull from if they really want to turn this thing around. Not since Final Fantasy 14, A Realm Reborn has a video game did a complete 180 and now people love it. So good on them.
I can't wait till Anthem gets there one day.
That's exactly who I was thinking of.
I'll wait with bated breath. Oh, can you believe it's been like a year since they're like, we're going back to the drawing board on Anthem, and there really hasn't been anything?
Yeah.
Since then?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Which is fine. I mean, if there's nothing to show, then don't show anything.
Yeah. I think they're just trying to see if we all kind of forget about it at this point. And
we'll forget about it real quick if you put out another like good Mass Effect game. So
the rumor, right? That the Mass Effect trilogy is they're like, yeah, we wanted to put it out, but Mass Effect 1 is still Mass Effect 1, so we got to really retool that. And you know what? That's fine. Focus on that. Anthem will be there.
So Xbox, or Microsoft rather, announced the price of the Series X expansion card, which is essentially their hard drive upgrade for the console. So here's the thing. It's $220 for a 1 terabyte storage expansion card. Now, it's solid state, so it's going to be expensive. It's the only expansion, according to Seagate, who makes it, that, quote, replicates the Xbox Velocity architecture. Whatever the hell that's supposed to mean. This generation's blast processing, I suppose.
Oh, my God.
So here's the thing, though. If you want to play your Xbox One Series X games, you can either install them on the console's solid-state hard drive or this $220 expansion, a USB external hard drive is not fast enough because they don't use the new, I don't know what the PCIe 4.0 standard is, but they don't use that. They use 3.0. So you can back up your games onto a USB drive, even a solid-state USB drive, but you cannot actually run games off them as well. So if you do want to expand your storage and be able to actually run games off of it, you have to buy this $220 upgrade. Now, you can run your Xbox One and previous generation games off a USB hard drive. So maybe that's the solution, is you just install your Series X games on your console and use your USB drive for your, retro games, as it were. That seems pricey, and people were quick to throw stones. Number one, I would imagine that Sony is going to be in a similar boat using this new hardware standard. So, just the Tom Hanks meme. Wait. And Samsung announced what their Evo 980 solid state drive, which uses this new standard, and their 1 terabyte version of that is $230. So that's actually a little bit cheaper, or actually a little bit more expensive than this Xbox drive is. So I don't know what the solution is here. Memory is always one of the most expensive components of any console, computer, whatever. That's just kind of how it goes. So I don't know. Like, I was put off by the price at first. Once I learned a little bit more about it, I was less put off, but I'm still kind of put off because $220 to expand your memory by 1 terabyte is a lot of fucking money.
Yeah, man. First of all, screw everyone who thinks that I'm just gonna run out and buy this. Like, I look, I will spend some money, but I'm not. I don't. It's not that bad. Like, that I can't wait for extended storage.
Here's the thing. Here's the other thing too. So I have a solid state drive for my PS4, right? It's 500 gigs. Between that solid state drive, which I keep the games that I play the most on, and the 1 terabyte of storage that's on my PS4 Pro, I'm good. Like I don't have any, I'm not running out of space. And if I need to make space for another game, I delete something that I haven't played in 12 months.
Right.
That's still sitting on there. Right. I've never quite understood people that are insistent on having all of their games right there at their fingertips, even if you haven't played it in like 3 years. I don't understand that mindset, because you can delete it and re-download it later. It's not like it's gone forever. Yes, you have to wait for it to download, and you have to plan that out in advance. But I'd rather do that on the small occasions that has to happen than spend $220 on an external storage unit to double my storage.
Yeah, man. Like, I don't like, I am in 100% agreement with you. Like, I get it, right? Like, we live on the coast, and we have slightly faster internet than, let's say, people who live in Winnemucca, Nevada. But at the same time, you're 100% right. Like, I'm not gonna rush out to spend all this money on extra storage space when the game is still right there. It's not like, and you delete the game, you're not deleting your game save.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the price, I get it. But I'm and I want expanded storage, but I don't want it enough that I'm just going to rush out and buy this thing. I'm going to wait a couple, like I did with these systems. I'm going to wait a couple years until the technology is a little more ubiquitous and just get a third party that's compatible with it.
And that's the thing. Like, that standard will get applied to USB at some point. Apparently, we'll have USB 4. I'm sure that'll have faster transfer speeds and all that jazz. So it like you said, it's just a waiting game to get to that point. But again, if you want to be an early adopter and drop 220 on a chip that you plug into your Xbox that you have 2 terabytes of storage, we can't stop you.
I mean, how it must suck for people who want this and bought like the Series S, because they're thinking, oh yeah, I'm just gonna get this. What is the Series S? $300?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get this $300 console. That's all I need. Oh, but I do want that extra storage space. Whoa! And now I'm spending $500.
Yeah. So, Farmville is shutting down on December 31st. There's not a whole lot to say about this because we are obviously not Farmville players on this podcast, but Farmville's notable because it's among the like original games that really reached out into the quote non-gamer market that kind of made gamers of a lot of folks who didn't typically play games before. Of course, Farmville, made by Zynga, very popular. The first like huge Facebook game that blew up. So I figured we'd mention it. In 2009, when it released, it had 73 million monthly active users that year, which is very impressive. And also kind of ushered in a lot of this this free to play or this fee to pay era, as some people coin it. That really took off when fucking like Candy Crush and shit like that.
Yeah,
came to phones. So, good for Farmville. I don't know anyone that still plays that game. Farmville 2 apparently still going to exist, so no worries there. You can play that on your phone. But Farmville 1 is getting sunsetted end of this year. Any thoughts for Farmville, Micah?
I forgot Farmville existed, and I did not know there's a Farmville 2.
Yes.
So
again, it's not really our neighborhood of the gaming world. So, but again, a notable story nonetheless. Finally, in the quick news, Google, despite the litigation going between Apple and Epic Games right now, doubling down on the 30% pay cut next year. Basically, they are now going to be requiring any developers who have their games in the Google Play Store to do all of their purchases through the Google Play Marketplace. It's a bigger deal for Google because they have a little bit less control over this than most people do, because on Android, you can get apps from other places that aren't the Google Play Store. It's not quite as locked down as Apple is. That includes games as well. And for a while, for pretty much up until next year, if you downloaded a game from a third-party site and sideloaded it onto your Android phone, any online purchases through that game typically go directly to the developer. Apparently, that is not going to be the case any longer. If the game is listed in the Play Store, then all Android purchases, regardless of where you get the game from, has to come through Google. Again, interesting to take this stance now in the midst of this litigation going on between Apple and Epic Games. But of course, we're probably not going to get a decision on that case for quite some time. So Google making their stance very clear here in this instance.
All right. That's it for the quick news. The ad read.
The ad read.
Go to. I messed it up.
www.danscepixel.com Amazon.
When you go to
www.danscepixel.com Amazon.
For all of your Amazon purchases, you help the show out. It's the easiest way to help the show, and you don't pay anything extra. So please, if you would, go to
www.danscepixel.com Amazon.
For all of your Amazon purchases. Would have been better if I didn't fuck up.
If you didn't fuck that up up front. So
yeah.
For those, what language was that in?
That was in French.
That was in French. So for those who don't speak French, the link is www.deadspixels.com/Amazon. For those not Johnny that are listening out there. How will Micah destroy the ad read next week. You'll have to. Oh my God. Speaking of Amazon, they've revealed their cloud streaming service that we knew was coming. It's called Luna, and it's already better than Google Stadia. So here's the deets that we have so far. It's going to be available on Android, iOS, PC, Mac, and Fire TV. It's going to be $5.99 a month. And for $5.99 a month, you can get 2 simultaneous streams at 4K 60 FPS, according to them. They've revealed some of the games that are going to be available from the get-go on the service. Of note, Bloodstained, Resident Evil 7, Rhyme, Control, looking here, Lumines. I'm always going to call it Lumines when I see it. Grid, Shadow Tactics. Not a hugely impressive slate of games.
What a weird amalgamation of games.
Yeah. It seems kind of random. That's just a small smattering. There's going to be over 100 titles to play. And unlike Google Stadia, where you have to buy individual titles to add to your library, this is more like a Game Pass subscription where these are just all included in your $6 a month membership.
Do they cycle out?
That I don't know. They have not mentioned that. They just said that these are what's going to be available at launch. And of course, the other thing that Amazon is going to be leveraging with this service is integration with Twitch. According to them, you'll be able to see Twitch streams for games within the Luna service, and from Twitch, you'll be able to start playing Luna games. Basically, it's a very similar feature set to what Google Stadia does with YouTube. Because we can't just use the controllers we have, there is going to be a Luna controller that is coming out.
Yeah.
You can use a Bluetooth controller. You can use mouse and keyboard if you want to. But apparently the Luna controller will have much lower latency than any other option available on the market by like 17 to 30 milliseconds reduction of latency, which in certain games is a significant reduction in latency when you're talking about controllers.
Yeah, it looks like I already own a Luna controller.
Why, it looks like that I own a Luna controller as well. Yes, as the internet was quick to point out, this controller looks remarkably similar to a Nintendo Switch Pro controller. Like in so many ways. Like I get that there's only so many ways that you can skin a cat, as the phrase goes. But like even to the point where like the grips on the controller are like, offset from the finish of the main body of the controller
right, like in the same.
So again, if you like your Switch Pro controller, it stands to reason that you will also like the Luna controller. It's going to cost $50 if you want to pick up one of those things. It's in early access right now. You can request access to it. And again, if you get in, you're only paying $5.99 a month. Currently, 1080 is the only streaming available. They say 4K is, quote, coming soon to that. Now, the really interesting thing, and I think this is getting short shift, is so they have the Luna service. And then aside from that, coming soon is the Ubisoft channel coming to the Luna service. Now, according to this, the Ubisoft channel will get you unlimited hours of play, I'm assuming with just Ubisoft games, ultimate editions with DLC for select titles, up to 1080p, 4K, 60 FPS, stream on one device at a time, play on PC, Mac, Fire TV, and web apps for iPhone and iPad. Very notable there because, actually, Luna works the same way. So apparently no native support on iPhone and iPad, which is not surprising because Apple's probably gating that, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so apparently it seems like they're almost treating Luna like streaming TV services. So like I have YouTube TV, right? I pay, $65 a month or however much it is to get access to a normal slate of like cable channels. And then if I want to, there's premium channels like HBO and Showtime and Cinemax and premium sports networks and stuff like that you can pay additional for on top of that to get access to those channels in particular. It looks like that's the same model that we're seeing here with Luna, where you can pay your $6 a month, and then for an additional fee, you can get the Ubisoft channel. And then maybe later you can get the EA channel, and maybe later you can get like the Capcom channel, so that you can access their games unlimited for free. Now, on one hand, that kind of sucks that you have to pay extra for that stuff, that it's not part of the regular service. But on the other hand, it's a more a la carte way to handle it, so you can only play for the publishers whose games you actually give a shit about. I don't know how good or bad it is. I guess it's going to come down to how much it costs.
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to how much it costs. And so that means no Ubisoft titles are going to be available through the base Luna program?
I would presume that that's the case. And doing a quick scan of the games they showed in this image, I don't see any Ubisoft titles sitting out.
I mean, that kind of sucks, because like the mainstream gamer plays games from big publishers, and maybe this isn't for the mainstream gamer, I guess, but at the same time, like I get like them trying to make money. I see both sides of it, but I don't know. And I'm not here, everything has to be consumer friendly. Like, no, like I'm aware that these companies want to make money, and they're doing this stuff because they make money. They don't give a fuck about us. Like they care about what we're willing to spend. But at the same time, it feels like it's a little too much. But again, if this is for the person that just kind of wants to, fuck around with a couple video games every once in a while, then I get it, right? But if you're just the kind of person that wants to fuck around with a couple of video games every once in a while, I don't see you buying the Ubisoft channel.
But here's another way you can kind of treat this, though, right? So, like, let's say the Ubisoft channel, for sake of argument, is $10 a month, which would seem steep, but let's just say that it is, just for shits and grins. And Assassin's Creed Valhalla comes out, and you're going to want to play Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but you're also only going to play it for like 2 months, right? Before you kind of get tired of it or move on to the next thing. In some way, it's kind of cost effective to pay $20 to play Assassin's Creed Valhalla for 2 months than it is to,
Yeah, but if you're going in with the mindset of I want to buy this story-driven experience, and I'm only going to play it for a couple of months, whether I beat it or not, like if you have, like if you're going to burn through this game, all right. But it just seems like a hassle, right? Because it's like, all right, well, I can get this, I can activate the account, then I can wait for the game to come out, play the game, burn through it, then deactivate it. Oh, hey, here's the new Watch Dogs. Let me reactivate the account, try to burn through it, and then quit it. I don't know. It just seems like a lot. I mean, I understand what my mind grasps what they're doing. I just, because I wouldn't do it, and I don't personally know anyone who would, not that that's evidence of anything, but because I don't personally know anyone who would, it just seems silly to me. But
yeah, we'll have to see. Like I said, but already kind of it does feel like that they are more in tune with what people are expecting services like this to be than Stadia is. I still can't understand paying $60 for games on Stadia like that. For some reason, that doesn't compute with me. And I get it, but I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like Amazon is treating this thing like a Roku, and which kind of makes it kind of makes sense. Whereas Stadia, like you said, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing for Stadia.
Not much.
I don't know what you people are doing, but you're asking us a lot of questions, and we're going to try to answer some of them. Trey says, now that The Miz, of all people, is in a licensed golf game, outside.
Is he in PGA 2K21 or whatever the fuck that's called? I didn't hear about that. I guess.
What?
Now you're having us both Googling live on the show.
Right. Sorry. And now that the Miz of all people is in a licensed golf game outside of the WWE, is it time to give that man his flowers? Look, I've always found Mike Mizanin to be an interesting guy. I've never hated him. Even way back on the Real World in New York. I never hated him. He always seemed like a nice guy. He just seemed like a product of like whiteness, for lack of a better term, right? Like he seemed like a guy who grew up not knowing anybody that wasn't white. And now that he's gone out of his sleepy Ohio town, he seems like just a nice enough guy, and he's a decent wrestler. He's above average on the mic.
So here's what. So apparently he's not in the game.
Okay. I was about to say.
Apparently Shooter McGavin is though. So fucking A.
What in the world?
Amazing. No, apparently this happened because Miz did an interview, where he said he was working with Justin Thomas, who's the number 1 ranked golfer in the world right now, and he said that if Justin Thomas gave him 30 strokes, that he could beat him in golf, and Justin Thomas said, no, you can't. Now, 30 strokes is a lot of strokes.
So, a lot, dude.
So just to give you so Justin Thomas on an average golf course is probably par for pretty much any golf course is 72 strokes, right? The best golfer in the world, depending on the course, because it's going to vary from course to course, probably would shoot like a 65 or a 66. You know what I mean? It's like 6 or 7 strokes under par. So that means the Miz would have to shoot be able to shoot like a 95 in order to beat him. And if the Miz is as good of a golfer, as a weekend duffer would be one that's good. So for context,
like an enthusiast,
right? My father-in-law once got down to where he averaged an 85. Now the courses that he plays on, not as difficult as PGA caliber courses in most cases. Some of the courses, yeah, but not so much. But I think the Miz, if the Miz is as good as golf at golf as he claims to be, that is very possible. With 30 strokes, yes, that is absolutely possible to do that.
Golf is don't sleep on golf, man. Golf is a really hard game, and it is and you have to be fit to play it. I've done 18 rounds of 18 holes of golf before, not back to back or anything, but on 2 separate occasions, and my back was killing me, man. and I suck, dude. Maybe that's part of it, is because I am terrible at all sport. But it is a game that it wears on your body, man. I get why people have caddies. I get why people ride around in those golf carts, man, because if you got to hoof it after tweaking your back, and the golfing position is not a natural position for the body to be in.
No.
So it is just, golf is a fun game, man, but
I really miss it. I haven't played around in 2 years. I used to play pretty frequently. I used to go out 7 or 8 times a year.
Oh yeah.
On average. But it's definitely has gone away from me a little bit. And I really do. I love golfing.
It's a fun game, man. It's a fun game. But don't think you're just gonna roll up in there and be like, all right, let's just nah, man.
Well, that being said, I have a couple friends who were just naturally talented at golf. Like a friend of mine, we took him out once, and it was the first time he'd ever played, and he shot a 105, which is stupid.
Jesus.
it took me a long time to get to that fucking level skill. I was really mad that he just came out and fucking did it. So
it got to the point where we were just like, you know what? Let's just not count. Let's just have fun.
Well, then you get there.
Let's just have fun, guys.
You get there.
Johnny says Jey Uso was 35. Rest in peace. I didn't get a chance to watch. What was it? Was it Battleground or
Night Champions?
Night of Champions. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but what I hoped is that, and I haven't really been paying attention to wrestling news lately, but what I hope is that Roman Reigns came in there and it was a squash match, right?
It was not a squash match, but what we got was very good. Heel Roman Reigns is everything we hoped heel Roman Reigns would be and more. In many ways. So the summation of this, and I'll go through it quick. So Jey Uso gave him a very competitive match. The tide turned when, after a frog splash, Roman Reigns kicked out of the pin attempt. But when he kicked out, I've never seen this before, and I can't believe in all the years of professional wrestling that I've watched, this is the first time someone's ever thought to do this. When he kicked out of the pin, Roman Reigns had his arm in between like Jey Uso's legs because Jey Uso was laid across him for the pin, and he low blowed Jey Uso out of the sight of the referee on the kick out, which was an excellent way. I've never seen anyone do that before. And then what happened is he basically he would not end the match until Jey Uso like paid fealty to him, like basically had to like kiss the ring. Like he's like call me the tribal chief. He's like say it, and then Jey was like I'm not today, Uso, not today. Like even though he like had got the shit kicked out of him, and so he just started laying forearms in his fucking face while he's on the ground. And then the best part, this goes on. The referee's trying to pull him off. He turned around to Charles Robinson like, get the fuck away from me. Like I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want to do because this is my ring. And so like even Paul Heyman was like, you're the tribal chief, and he's like, I want him to say it. I don't care. Like I don't want you to say it. I want him to say it. So and again, the best part is Jimmy Uso then comes, like Jimmy Uso is recovering from a ACL injury, so he's still a couple months away. He comes limping down the ring with a towel in his hand, and of course Jey Uso being the errant babyface, like pleased with his brother not to throw the towel in, and Roman Reigns is like he'll tell you what, I'll stop if you come in and say it. And Jey was like, no, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, Uso, don't do it. And so like again, he's smashing fucking four. And again, this is his fucking cousin, or and basically his brother,
right?
like IRL. And it's and so finally, like after watching this for like 2 minutes, like Jimmy Uso finally throws the towel in, so they end the match. And Jimmy Uso like comes in, like dives on top of Jey and covers him up, and he finally was like, you're the tribal chief. He's like you're it. He's like, you got it. And Roman Reigns like, that's all I wanted. See ya. Like that was bad. That was how. Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I love it. Now look, on the one hand, I wish crowds were back, right? Yeah. Because the crowd plays a
in this case it worked out okay because you got to hear the dialogue in the ring properly, which worked for this specific moment.
In this case, I'm glad crowds are not here because they want to establish Roman Reigns as a heel, and the crowd will not. They would Becky Lynch it, right? They wouldn't have it. They're like, this is all we've ever wanted. Yes, thank you, asshole Roman. Like they wouldn't have it. They would cheer him, and WWE specifically wants to make him a bad guy. So, which is why he's beating the shit out of his family, for God's sakes. Right. So yes, I'm glad that crowds aren't here so that the story is able to be told the way it is supposed, the way the writers intend for it to be told. Eric says top 3 roguelikes, Hades.
So there are. So here
for honorable mention, Dead Cells.
Well, the top 2 are going to be for most people are probably going to be Hades and Dead Cells in whatever order you want to put them in. I would think at this point most people are probably putting Hades.
Yeah, it's Hades.
My number 2 would be Slay the Spire. Very different type of game, but for me, it's fucking great.
For me myself personally, my number 2 would be Rogue Legacy. It's just a cute story, and it's like you're the descendant of the previous person. So you inherit most of their abilities being their direct descendant, but you also have like their their, one of their faults, or you inherit a fault of your own, and it's a way that keeps each run fresh. I really enjoyed that game. Gustavo says, Brad, what Premier League team would you assign to Micah, Terrence, and Carey based on their personality / video game preference?
This is the best soccer-related question that Gustavo has ever asked on this podcast before. So Micah is the easiest to figure out here, because Micah throws money around when it comes to video games and always has to get like the hottest new thing on the market all the time. Like whatever the best, coolest new thing that exists, no matter what the cost, Mike is going to splash the cash. Even if he ends up regretting the purchase at some point down the road, he's still going to spend the money. Micah undoubtedly is Chelsea Football Club. 100%. Like there is no doubt in my mind that Micah is Chelsea through and through. With no shock at all. Terrence is a little trickier. Terrence, I would put his proclivities to be more of like Terrence is going to be more down with like your niche clubs, like your indie clubs, let's say. But still someone that's going to be playing on the newest hardware. Like he's not going to go play on a fucking Switch or play a retro game or anything like that. Like Terrence still wants to be in the top league, but he's going to be a little bit more quirky. He's going to look for that diamond in the rough. Terrence is Leicester City Football Club. Terrence is Leicester City. He's surprisingly he gets the most value out of his game purchases that he possibly can.
I spelled Leicester the way that you think I would spell Leicester.
Not the English way.
Not the proper
British way. Yeah.
I was like, why is there an I here and a C? What is going on here?
Now, Carey is easily the toughest one of these to kind of suss out. My inclination is to make sure that she ends up with a team with a lot of Asian influence in it, especially in like ownership and stuff like that. But see, the problem is that there's not a lot of Asian-owned teams in the league right now. Like most of the folks that are buying in the Premier League are from like the Middle East, stuff like that. So Carey's a little bit tougher. There's also no really like super cute mascots that are aside from Chirpy, which is the mascot of Tottenham Hotspur. Of course, Chirpy's the best. And I would not relegate Carey to Arsenal, who has Gunnersaurus, who is a terrible mascot. I have to think on Carey's a little bit. Like I said, you kind of caught me on the spot as far as this one goes.
Well, now that you said that, Chelsea will be my team from now on.
I'm sorry for you that has to be that way. There's no joy in rooting for Chelsea Football Club. There's no joy. Like it's like rooting for the Yankees. Like when they lose, you're disappointed because they should have won, and when they win, it's like, well, of course we have all the best players. Of course we should have won. There's no joy. There's no joy at all.
There's no pain. You to be a sports fan, you gotta endure.
The pain makes the success mean something at the end of the day. Actually, you know what? Carey is Newcastle, because Newcastle is a club that has to be frugal with their purchase. They have to look for really good players in weird places, and they find some quirky guys. But they occasionally get the odd big name. Carey will occasionally play like the big AAA game, and also they're shithousers, and Carey is an incredible shithouser for sure. So yeah, I would probably say Newcastle would be Carey's club. That's a great question. I love assigning Premier League teams to people based on personality.
I look forward to continue to win all the soccer bouts.
Tottenham Hotspur beat Chelsea Football Club today, by the way. So I don't know if
Well, you know what? That's my team now because I need a rivalry. I need a rivalry. We get along so well. We need something to butt heads with. This is gonna be it. You and your damn blue quail birds or whatever the hell you are. I'm a dragon holding a key. I don't know, but I'll figure it out. I got to do my research. I'll figure it out. Jay says, what's the quality of ping pong ball they used for Rey Mysterio's eye to make his story more believable or less? Or does the quality? There's nothing about this story that makes it believable because they already did it perfectly back when his son was a wee lad with Eddie Guerrero. And they had a whole "you are not the father" thing. They had a whole paternal angle with him already, and now they're just doing it with his daughter. I think.
Yeah, she's getting involved. She's getting into the mix.
So yeah, no, they already did it. They already did it, and
I will say it's pretty funny. So because of the COVID situation, they're sticking with feuds longer term than they normally do, but they're not doing the slow build to the culmination. They're just running the feud for like 4 months.
Yeah, they're
That's
just
not good.
They're doing that. They're having the culmination at the same point they would normally have it, and now there's just we're just going to keep going.
Right, like Apollo Crews has been fighting the Hurt Business for like 5 months, literally.
Right,
and there's no apparent end in sight. Like they just keep butting heads with each other. Like it's like move on, like move on to something else.
Rey Mysterio lost an eyeball, yo. Like that's pretty much like that's it, yo. Like that's it.
And months later, we're still finding new and exciting ways to evolve the Seth Rollins feud with him. So,
Rashawn says, with John Q. Rambo coming to Mortal Kombat, is it the perfect time to play it? I didn't see anything about this, but he posts a link that they are reportedly adding Rambo, which would make sense if anyone has seen that last Rambo movie. He literally performs a Mortal Kombat fatality.
Yeah, it's pretty funny how the Rambo character from Rambo movie 1 to Rambo movie 5 has evolved or devolved in this case, really. Like if you're really assigning something good. Like Rambo in First Blood used to be a really compelling character, and they kind of kept that going in Rambo 2, except he just killed a lot more guys with Reckless Man. And then once you got to Rambo 3, like shit went off the fucking rails.
Yeah, they just kind of forgot that, you know, Rambo was supposed to be a commentary on how we treat vets from Vietnam, man. Like he was a tortured soul. And no, he's just a fucking killing machine. Killing's as easy as breathing, guys. Like, what the fuck? Like, yo, you're and then he literally, like, spoiler alert, I guess, he cut a guy's rib cage open and pulled out his beating heart, dude. Like, that's literally a Kano fatality. So
I really like First Blood. First Blood's one of my favorite, like probably in like my top 25 movies. It's definitely not in my top 10. But it's up in that top 25.
It's a good movie, man. And then they just like by the what was it, Rambo 4? He was on a 50 cal just mowing people down. And then Rambo 5.
Say what you will about Rambo 4. Some of the best like action movie gore that I've seen in any movie ever.
Oh, absolutely. I remember we did a No Time to Bleed on it. You know, the fun, lighthearted show where we talk about action movies that are like, whoa, that was cool, that was amazing, and fucking psycho ass Terrence picked Rambo, and he was like, killing's as easy as breathing. Like Jesus, dude. And then fucking Rambo 5, he rips up guys beating heart out. Like I get it, like, but at the same time, like
I still haven't watched John Rambo yet. I don't know if I want to.
Whew, you do. You in for it. You in for something. Cam says WWE is doing their draft next week. If you could pick 2 people from each brand and switch them to another one, which would you pick to move from Raw, SmackDown, and NXT?
I couldn't tell you right now.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you right now. I would have to really think on that. Johnny says, since many of you are Mass Effect fans, what are you expecting from the remastered trilogy? Bare minimum cash grab or decent to great upgrades. I mean, apparently decent to great upgrades. Like,
well, I'm expecting the bare minimum cash grab. I'm hoping to be pleasantly surprised by decent upgrades. I don't think you're going to get great upgrades. I think you're going to get decent upgrades.
If they, as long as they rehaul Mass Effect 1, I love Mass Effect 1. I really do, man. Like, in terms of story, like, it's the simplest without getting too crazy, right? As much as I love Mass Effect 2, Shepard dies and comes back to life through nanomachines from the elusive man, and they fight a baby Terminator Reaper that's 20 feet tall at the end of it. You know what I mean? Like the first Mass Effect is great at story. I want an overhauled Mass Effect and cut down on all that Mako bullshit. That's what I want. And if I get that, I will be happy with whatever they do with Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3. Malcolm says, do you prefer charge characters or command inputs? Also, it's funny how the Fiend's catchphrase is "let me in" when in fact it's that what he. I'm sorry, I'm stroking out. Also, it's funny how the Fiend's catchphrase is "let me in" when in fact isn't that what he did with JoJo? Oh damn.
Me and Mike are going to differ here. I'm a command input guy.
I am a charge guy, but I am a charge character that with that their special moves are charged projectiles, if that makes any sense. I don't like. I can play with Honda, but I don't prefer throwing my body at the person, right? Because I'm a turtle character. I'm a keep my distance kind of guy, which is why I generally play Guile, Charlie, Remy, those type of characters are the ones I pick. If I do pick a command character, it's a Shoto. Like, it's not going to be some weird hybrid like Chun-Li or somebody like that. It's a Shoto, and but no, I'm a charge character person. And Amir says, have you guys watched the Console Wars documentary yet? If not, it's a pretty good doc. You need CBS All Access. You need CBS All Access.
I did watch it because I still had a free trial of CBS All Access waiting for me, so I activated just for that. It's fine. It's done in a very similar style as the High Score docuseries that just came out on Netflix recently. Mm-hmm. Like, to the point where I wondered if some of the same people were involved, especially in like the vignettes that they had in between. It's an interesting documentary. I'm not entirely buying into how they framed it. Mike, essentially, you have not seen this yet, I assume?
No.
So it's about the battle between Sega and Nintendo. It's basically about Sega's come up in the early 90s with Genesis, and then eventual flame out in the mid 90s with the Saturn. It frames Tom Kalinske in a very heroic light, which is fine because Tom Kalinsche's an all right dude, and he was the face of Sega at the time. But it's kind of framed as like a like an underdog story in some ways. When Tom Kalinske, before he worked for Sega, was the guy who came up with Flintstones vitamins and reinvigorated the Barbie toy line and created He-Man. So it's not like Tom Kalinske was working from
You're right.
from a position of not being successful. They just needed to get someone that knew what the fuck they were doing into Sega, and that's exactly what they did. So, but like I said, it's framed as like, scrappy upstart Sega, makes it big against ruthless, domineering Nintendo, who had an iron claw grip on the console market in the early 90s because they reinvigorated video games. And Nintendo's kind of portrayed as like this overbearing, like monopolistic company, which kind of were in some ways, but it kind of frames them as unnecessarily harsh, I guess you could say. I don't think that guys like Howard Lincoln and especially Peter Main are going to be too happy with how they were portrayed in this documentary, I guess you can say. But then they kind of gloss over how badly Sega fucked up.
Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah, like let's not, it's not that Nintendo, it's not all Nintendo, like fucking Nintendo's not the Unicron,
Right.
right? Like they're not
Like
like
if you want a much more fleshed out look at how the Saturn launch was so badly botched by Sega, go watch the Gaming Historian on YouTube. I think did a whole video about the Sega Saturn, and it kind of details the launch of the system, how Sega Japan, and that's other things, like Sega Japan is framed as a villain as well, because the Sega Japan did a lot of stupid fucking shit in the 90s, including like stealth launching the Saturn at E3. And they showed, of course, they showed one of my favorite E3 moments, which we've talked about on the show before, which is Steve Race, formerly of Sega, now the president of Sony America, or Sony Entertainment America, when he comes up on the stage right in front of all the Sega execs during the PlayStation presentation, and just literally walks up on stage and is like, $299, and then walks away. So, like a cheering crowd after Saturn had just launched it at $400. So it's a good documentary. It's worth burning your all access free trial on if you've not done so yet. I don't know that it's worth spending $10 for a month of CBS All Access to watch. I would much more recommend checking out the High Score docuseries that was on Netflix. I don't know if it still is there, but that was very good.
Is it good, or is it like, does it give you anything that you don't already know? That's what I get
some of the stories with High Score were ones that I had never really heard of before. And then some of the ones that they did talk about that they shed more light on, they did have nuggets of information that I was not necessarily privy to.
Okay.
So
all right.
There's a lot of repeat stuff if you're versed in video game history, especially video game history of the late 80s and early 90s, as many of you listening are.
Okay, cool.
So that's it for this week. Thank you guys very much for listening and watching. We are all, except for Micah, streaming on Twitch now. So Dense Pixels Brad for me, Carrie is Suppets Carrie, Terrence is Apparition 410. Make sure you check us out on Twitch TV there. You can join the fan group at densepixels.com/fans, where you can submit questions to the post office every single week. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, subscribe to us on YouTube as well, youtube.com/densepixels. That's it for us this week. Thank you guys very much for watching and listening, and we will see you all the next time.
See ya.
You're watching the Dense Pixels YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button while you're here, and make sure you check out our weekly podcast where we discuss the latest gaming news and our impressions on what games we've been playing.